yeah, it's absurd playing the Emperor of the Galaxy. The idea of an Emperor of the Galaxy is kind of absurd. There's someone who thinks that they have control over trillions of people through a galactic empire. Absurd. But I find it intellectually absurd, and I find that's what really drew me to the show. I find the character really entertaining. I find how David changes these sequence of clones as they move through time. Really entertaining and meaningful. When I kind of look aside from the story at, terrestrial life in 2023, I think that this show provides us a way to think about, changing climate, changing politics, pressure of a lot of conflicting priorities. It gives us a way to think about that and meditate on it in a way that only a show like this can do. You can be relaxed in your home, thinking about cloned emperors and 25,000-year-old robots. The thing about Cleon is that he's conditioned to believe that the only solve for any problem is violence. And he's not the only one that thinks that way, but I think we really examine him. But what I can, say about the show is that that a big pleasure of this show is watching the Cleons suffer. So he might be a bad guy, but he's got a tough road ahead. I really hope the audience has a good time with it. That's really my hope. I think that there's a lot of action. There's a lot that happens every episode. The story moves quickly. The story is big. The story requires the audience to come with a certain amount of their own imagination. So I hope they feel intellectually excited by it. I hope they have a good time watching it. It comes out week after week, so there's no binge of it. Well, at least, eventually there will be a binge of it, but, right now, as it's coming out, it comes out week after week, and so they can watch an episode, talk to their friends about it, and then watch the next episode and continue the conversation, which is how I grew up watching TV, and I think that there's something really cool about that like-minded community that is built around watching a show together. So I invite people to watch in that way and have a good time. Yeah.
Oh, it's hard to give away. It's hard to not give away spoilers when I'm talking about season 2. But it's basically season 1, but like bigger, bolder, more epic, more characters to love, more stories to follow, and it's just beautiful, really. I think it's nice to be able to play characters where it doesn't matter what they look like or what their gender is or anything like that. And as somebody who's acted in shows where, for instance, I've been playing men since my first professional job, this is so normal for me, and I think it should be continued to be normal, just shifting it up, changing it up, bringing it to today. I do have some favourite scenes, one of which is in the first episode of season 2, and it's all underwater, let's just say that.
There's so many delicious plot lines. It's funny. The first series is brilliant, but it's very serious. And now we've done with all the world building. There is room and space for some humor. So there's humor and banter and sexiness and intrigue and a lot of big themes. Just wait. So my character is Injoinaru, is one of the new characters, and is the political advisor to the very young, very beautiful Queen Seraph. Well, I get to play a character who has many layers, and I get to be a part of a show where there's just so much talent and so much effort and so much detail and care put into it. The resources. We worked on this for 10 months, and that was just shooting, and all the writing before that and all the post-production. I just feel really privileged to be a part of something so huge. You don't think you're watching TV, you really feel that it's very cinematic. And also very ambitious. It doesn't, sometimes TV can be very, very fast and talk down to its audience, but this is very smart and it doesn't underestimate its audience. It's really, you're in for a sitting, right?
I think season 2 is going to be very interesting because we're introducing loads of new characters and planets. And in general, it's just going to be cool to see everybody back on screen, both main cast and who else might join this season. So my character is on the planet Ignis, and I am one of the mind-reading new characters. And some of the main characters are going to come to our planet, and stuff's going to happen. I'm excited for them to see sort of everything. I think everybody did an amazing job. I'm excited for the whole team, both actors and the whole crew behind. I think everybody worked so hard and everybody just had their soul in it. So I'm just excited to get our work out there and yeah, let people know what we've done, we've made.
I'm very proud to be here and witness this. Unbelievable. I don't think my father could have imagined this, and he had a very big imagination. So I'm very, very happy. Yes, and that's David's genius. He took a very cerebral book with no action and made it into a magnificent piece of art. I'm very proud.
Oh my goodness. I am spending time with my family, and being on the beach is probably like the two things I've been spending time doing. So yeah. Yeah, so you see her being reunited with her daughter, which is really, really beautiful and amazing to see. And how their relationship, you know, travels and exploring that. We see her with Harry and seeing how they start off not in a very good place. So it's fun to see where that journey goes, and, you know, lots of hard times, again, as always with Gale, but she perseveres and she always comes out in the end. This show is unbelievable. The stories are incredible, the actors are amazing, like everyone here is just really good at what they do. We've got amazing crew, we've got amazing production, like everything is just the best of the best. So I feel very grateful and lucky that I'm part of this massive, amazing, crazy production, yeah.
It is a dream. It's crazy. It's wild. So I love that character, and I love kind of the way we get to reveal her secrets. I think as an actor, what you love the most is to have a character with many secrets, because then when you kind of get to reveal those bit by bit, it's amazing. And then I just get to act with these amazing actors like Leah Pace, Catherine Bilt and Terrence Mann. So it's been such a joy just to kind of get to spend so many years with them, and yeah. We get to explore her backstory, which I find extremely beautiful writing, what we get to learn about her and how she became a member of this weird dysfunctional empire family. Ambition in this show, in all of the levels, in everyone, like from the writing to, you know, the last step before you enter the stage, and like I'm just so astonished I get to work with people who are so talented and love what they do and like just want to put all their creative imagination to this. So I feel very, very privileged and proud to be part of this family.
This is the second crisis that is upon us, and what is entailed is going to be something amazing. And hopefully from the first series, when we get the baton from there, you'll get more secrets being revealed and more mysteries being told. Polly is wonderful, you know. He's a bright, intelligent, handsome. All right, he takes a few kind of narcotics and a few things, like he drinks a bit, a little bit of an alcoholic, but aren't we all? And that's what makes him human, and that's what makes it today. And in that respect, for me, the second crisis really represents where we are today as human beings. It's been a an amazing arc to create, Polly, especially when we catch him up in that first season at the age of 12, and then we see him at that 148 years later. And another lovely thing is he says, I think why he's lived so long is because he always wanted to see what was on the other side of that mountain.
I mean, there's a lot going on in it, as you know, as there was in season 1. Loads of new characters like myself, lots of action, but there's also some really great love connections and relationships, which I think are really deep and will move the audience a lot. I would describe her as not entirely human. She's got a good sense of humour, and she makes a difference. I was doing a lot of prosthetics, so it was about 6 hours every time, and so just the time I spent in the chair and the bond that I had with the people who were doing my makeup and my hair.
I play a young woman who, I think people look at her and they don't realise what she's capable of. But she's a good person at heart. I love working with Sandra Sensen-Diver, who plays my Enjoyna Rue. Just meeting her and creating such a beautiful friendship together. I really felt like she looked after me throughout the process, and obviously that's what Enjoyna does do to the Queen. So yeah, Sandra, every piece of work I did with Sandra was a joy. But also Lee Pace is incredible. To be able to act with Lee Pace is pretty magical. Yeah. All of it though, really, all of it was just 9 months of extreme joy and fun, and I loved it, and if I could do it again, I would do it in a heartbeat.
I play Hober Mallow, who is, I guess, a kind of intergalactic con man who travels around space, conning people really. And he sort of gets drawn into the story because his name is sort of written by Harry Seldon as being an integral part of the solution to the second crisis. And so he reluctantly becomes involved. And despite his best efforts to remain an anti-hero, he's forced to be more of a sort of classic hero. But yeah, quite fun. A con artist turned good, I guess, yeah. I'm super proud to be part of a production like this. Firstly, the show is so ambitious. For a long time, I think the books were sort of considered unmakeable. They're just so vast and expansive in their kind of scope and storytelling that I think David is the first person to really go, we can do this now. There's a way to make this, and I think that's really exciting. And it is David. You know, David Goyer is like, he just runs a really tight ship, and he puts a lot of thought and attention into every part, and he's on top of all the stories. And I think you just feel grateful to work on a production like this. I mean, it looks fantastic. And I think growing up, you know, I knew I wanted to act from quite a young age, and you kind of dream of doing things on this kind of scale. And so it was a nice moment to be on a set with these, you know, this kind of size, and the sets were amazing. Full credit to Apple for like putting their full support behind it, because it's an ambitious show, and it's kind of strange. There's not really a lot like it. There's things similar to it, but David's taken it in a new direction, and he's overseeing this thing over multiple series, and it's quite a feat, I think.
It is, yeah, it's a joy. I mean, I think a lot of the joy is the challenge, is sharing a part with two other formidable actors. I mean, Terry and Leah are just, they're so generous to me. But it is strange playing someone that is both historical and has been the same throughout the ages, and yet each different one has a different flavour to him and a different energy. But that's the fun. That's the fun. I mean, I started season 2 just thinking, oh, I'm kind of starting from scratch here, you know. Even though we've been here before, It's kind of like the whiteboard's been cleaned up and let's begin again. It's been really fun. I think season 1 we were just laying the groundwork for the fun we have this season. I think everything is just turned up to 100 on those dials. If you like the epic scale, somehow we make it more epic. If you like spending time with these really interesting, sometimes quite like challenging and strange characters, you get more time with them. We meet a whole bunch of new wicked characters. It really is Foundation 2.0. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, from the time I was 13, for sure. So it's definitely kind of a life in the making for me. The key was just figuring out how to humanize it and make it relatable to a mainstream audience, to the people that had never read the work before, while still keeping the core DNA of what makes Asimov Asimov. But it was tough, but I think we pulled it off. My approach to filmmaking is largely do as much in camera as possible. It's kind of the exact opposite of most of the science fiction approach these days. But I think it makes for a more real experience, and it's what sets our show apart from so many of our competitors. I mean, there were a lot of memorable moments. There were some challenges. We had a set washed away by a hurricane. We had a lightning storm when I was directing episode 2, in which we had a lightning storm in a desert, in which we had to shut down shooting for a day. We had a snowstorm in a tropical island. All sorts of crazy things that happened, but we persevered through all of it, and I'm really proud of it.